Okay, we are holding in Pesachim, Dafnum Beis Amud Beis. So we have a explanation of a Mishnah between Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda. Tanakama says, we learn in the Mishnah, Tanakama says if you have fruit from a place that the fruit are finished, and you go to a place that the fruit are not finished, so it's mutter for you to eat the fruit over there. So Tanakama says you're able to eat the fruit over there. Yehuda says we tell you to go back. So we're trying to find the explanation exactly what is explanation in this argument. So we had a few explanations. We're finishing off with one of the last explanations all the way at the bottom of Numbez on Medal. We stopped by Ravina. Ravina Amar is the third line from the bottom. Ravina says that the argument between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda is the argument with the Hani Tanoi. The argument in reference to Machlekes Tanoim that we learned. The Tanya that it says in the Braisa, be able to eat figs in Eretz Yehuda, until the last date in Tzeyar, or the last figs in Tzeyar, is finished. Meaning there was a certain place called Tzeyar, and Tzeyar, that was where most of the produce came from. So since most of the figs came from Tzeyar, so even though right now you're in Yerushalayim or you're in somewhere else, and Yerushalayim finished the figs, so they didn't finish the figs, it's not relevant. We go after the central place where the fruit comes from. Let's say you have apples, so we go after that's all the apples come from Spain. So we go after until when the apples in Spain are finished, that's when you have to stop eating the apples in your field. Again, so regarding the laws of Shvis, of Shemitah, that we said a few times, that Terry told you you're able to take the fruit into your house before Shemitah, and you're able to eat the fruit as long as there's still fruit left in the field. But as soon as the fruit left is finished in the field, so you have to get rid of the fruit from your house. The question is which field are we talking about? So that's what Tanakama says, that we don't go the fields in whichever country or whichever city you are. We're speaking on the fields in the central place where the food comes from. That is the first opinion. Shimon Gamliel ben Gamliel says no. He says, Eichlin al Shabin Akipin. You're able to eat dates al Shabin Akipin, meaning as soon when the dates are still on the palm branch, if the dates are still there, then you're able to eat the dates in your house. But if the dates fell down already, there's no dates left on the palm branch. There's only dates left falling down in the thorns of where the dates are. So there's still dates in the field, but they're not on the tree. So then you have to stop eating from your field. So what do we have over here? We have over here, Tanakama says, which is mashma, Tanakama is much more makel. What does Tanakama says? Tanakama says, and over here, that Tanakama says over here that you're able to rely until the last dates in the world basically are finished. As opposed to Rabbi Gamliel, arguing says no, it relies the dates of your field. So Ravina is tracking this back to Amachlekes Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda and Mishnah. Tanakama says, what do we learn in the Mishnah? We learn Tanakama says that someone brings fruit from a place that the fruit is finished to a place that the fruit, he's only chayiv to burn the fruit if he brings it to a place that the fruit isn't finished yet. Meaning, as long as there's still fruit left in this town or in this country, that's going from London to Manchester, as long as there's fruit left in Manchester, he's able to continue eating the fruit. So, which see with Tanakama more makel and say that in order to burn the fruit, you have to make sure all the fruit are finished. Shenke and Rabbi Yehuda who said, "Say Rabbi Yehuda says, "We tell him what do you mean? Go back to London. You bought this fruit from London. In London, it's finished, so you can't eat the Manchester." So that would fit together with the opinion of Shimon Gamliel, which Shimon Gamliel says that we go according to the fruits in the field, not the fruits of the central place, but the fruits of the field. And since there's no fruit left in your field, or in our context, there's no fruits left in Makim Sheloi Kalu, in the city you went to. Therefore, you have to stop eating the fruits. Now we're speaking about the laws of Shvis, of Shemitah. We're going expounding a bit more on the rules, on the laws, even though it's not directly connected to our sugya. Says the Gemara further. We learn in the Mishnah is Masechta Shvis. The Mishnah says, Shalish Arotis Labir. There's 3 lands, meaning Eretz Yisrael is divided into 3 sections regarding the laws of eating fruit and Shemitah. Which are the 3 sections? Yehuda, the land of Yehuda, Ve'eva Yarden, and over the Yarden, across the Jordan, and Ve'Galum, and the Galum. Now, so that's in general, Eretz Yisrael, where all the Shvatim were divided into 3 lands. We can explain what that means in a second. in each of these three lands, in each of these three, meaning in Yehuda was divided in three, and Eva Yadim was divided in three, and Gala was divided in three. So how many sections do we have in Eretz Yisrael now? We have 9 sections in Eretz Yisrael. If we have 9 sections, why do we say V'shalish Aratzis Labir? The Mishnah says that regarding the laws of burning the fruit, meaning which land do we see that the fruit are finished, and that's when you chayiv to burn them. The Mishnah says you only chayiv. Regarding Eretz Yisrael, there's 3 sections in Eretz Yisrael regarding the laws of burning the fruit and shmita. Well, the Chayei Kontra explained now there's not 3 sections, there's 9 sections. Why do we say there's 3 sections? It's to tell us that to tell us that in each section of Eretz Yisrael you're able to eat the fruit until the last fruit are finished in that section. For example, let's say you live in London. So let's say London is divided into 3 places. Let's say you have London is divided into 3 places, and each of these 3 places is divided into another 3 places. Let's say you have London has Stamford Hill. Stamford Hill is divided into 3 places like Stoke Newington, the middle of Stamford Hill and by Tottenham area, whatever. So then, even if in Stoke Newington they finished all the fruit, they finished all the apples, but since in Tottenham there's still fruit left, regarding the laws of Shemitah, you're able to carry on and eating the fruit. And that's why we said there's 3 lands, because in general there's 3, even though they're divided into 3, but it's saying that for regarding burning the fruit, then we go after the last place where there's fruit in each portion. How do we know that you're able to eat a big chiddush? Meaning that even though in my area right now there's no fruit left, but since half an hour drive away, half an hour walk away, there's still fruit, I'm able to eat. Where do we know this heter? Amar Yosef Machanina, said the name of Yosef Machanina. Amar Kra says in Pasuk, says in the Pasuk that the fruit should be eaten as long as there's animals in the field. What does that mean? If there's animals still eating fruit from the field, then you're able to feed animals in your house and feed yourself in your house. But if the animals in the field finished eating all the fruit, meaning there's no fruit left in the fields anymore, then you have to get rid of the fruit inside your house and burn them. We have a tradition that the animals in Yehuda don't travel so far to the Gadol. And the animals in Gadol don't travel to the animals in Yehuda. So therefore, we don't have to say Eretz Yisrael is one big land. We divide the Eretz Yisrael into 3, because that's where, in general, the animals pasture and go from one place to another. The chazaka is that animal is not going to go so far to a different. Again, we're relying on the animal in the field. How far does the animal walk? Maybe the animals the whole Yisrael is one entity, because animals go from each place to each other. So answer now, we have a chazaka that we have a tradition that the animals don't go so far. The animals in Gadol stay in Gadol, and the animals in Yehuda stay in Yehuda. But these 3 places are divided into 3 because the animals in Yehuda travel to the furthest part of Yehuda, and the animals in Gadol travel to the furthest part of Gadol. That's why if you live in Stoke Newington, you're able to eat fruit even though the fruit in Stoke Newington are finished and there's still fruit in Tottenham, because the animals in Stoke Newington go and pasture all the way to the fruit in Tottenham. Now we're going to a new discussion. We learn about Potash. If you have fruit that went from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Okay, so you have fruit that went from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Where do you have to burn the fruit? Do you have to go back to Eretz Yisrael, or can you burn them in England, wherever you're traveling to? So the machlek says you have to go back to Eretz Yisrael. Meaning if you're traveling from Eretz Yisrael to London, and you have fruits from Eretz Yisrael which are chayiv beer. Why? Because the fruit in Eretz Yisrael already finished, so the shmita fruit, and you have to burn them. So if you go to London, you're gonna have to fly all the way back to Eretz Yisrael and burn them in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Mishum shenamar, it says in Pasuk, Asher ba'artzecha, that you have to burn the fruit in your land in Eretz Yisrael. So you have to bring the fruit all the way back to Eretz Yisrael. Ask the Gemara, how can you learn from the lashon of ba'artzecha? You have to burn the fruit in Eretz Yisrael. We already use the word ba'artzecha for something else. We already used the word for ba'artzecha, like we just said before, that regarding the laws of when do we decide when the fruit is finished, we go after your land and not someone else's land, meaning Yehuda goes after Yehuda and not Gadol. So how can you use ba'artzecha to teach for a new chiddush? So you have to burn it in Eretz Yisrael also. Answers the Gemara, 2 answers. Number 1, kari bei ba'aretz ba'artzecha. The word ba'artzecha has 2 diukim. The pasuk could have just said ba'aretz. Why does it say ba'artzecha? So to teach us two things. Number one, ba'aretz would already teach the extra word ba'aretz would mean in the land, which means that it has to be in your land. And ba'aretz, the fact that Torah added the extra chaf, it's to teach us that you have to burn it in your land, meaning that there's two diukim from this pasuk, because the terminology is two extra terminology. One is the etzem word, and one is the extra, that from the etzem word we learn out one chiddush, and that's some chaf, and from the letter chaf we learn out that it has to be in your land. Another answer is inami. Another answer is asher ba'aretz. The Torah doesn't say only ba'aretz. The Torah uses the extra word of asher. So the extra word of asher teaches us that you have to burn it in Eretz Yisrael. Says it brings down the Gemara story, and I'm going to go a bit off topic. Rav Safra Nafak, Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. Rav Safra was traveling he went out from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz Laretz. He went from Eretz Yisrael to, let's say, it was Baba. Garba the Chamra the Shvius. He had in his backpack a small jug of wine of Shvius, of Shemitah. And there came the time that he has to burn the wine now. He has to get rid of the wine. The question is, does he have to go back there to burn the wine, to get rid of the wine, or can he get rid of the wine where he is? Which is basically means, do we paskin like Shimon Gamliel, who says that from Ba'aretz we learn that you have to go back there to sow or not? So he didn't know what to do. So Lavo Ba'adei, together with him on his journey, was accompanying him Rabbi Yehuda, Rav Huna, Berei, Rav Ika, Rav Kahana. Rav Huna was there and Rav Kahana was there. Two big Talmid Chachamim. So Amar Lahem, Rav Safra asked them, Ika Dushamile Minei Rabbo. Did any of you hear from Rabbo? Rabbo was a teacher. Did any of you have heard from our teacher that Allah could have b'shim l'lezer? Did we get, in other words, did we come to a maskana if Allah is like a shim l'lezer? Not meaning, did you ever hear from Rabbo pasking the din? Do I have to go back there to sow and burn the food there or not? Amalei Rav Kahana told him. Again, there were two people with him, Rav Kahana and Rav Huna. So Rav Kahana told him, I heard from Rabbi like this. The halach is a shim l'lezer. The halach is like a shim l'lezer. And since the halach is like a shim l'lezer, you're going to have to go all the way back to Eretz Yisrael. Amalei Rav Huna told him, that's what you heard? No, I heard differently. I heard from Rabbi differently. The halach is not like a shim l'lezer, which means you don't have to go back to Eretz Yisrael. So now we're stuck. What does he do? One, Rav Huna says that you don't have to go back, and Rav Kahana says you do have to go back. Rav Safra answer them like this: listen, I'm going to pass like Rav Huna. That what the Rav Huna says that the halacha is not like the shum l'lezer, and therefore I don't have to go back there to sow. Why did I pass like Rav Huna, not like Rav Kahana? So he says because Rav Huna was special. The doik v'gamar shmaita mipumid the Rabbi. When Rav Huna would hear a statement from his or learning from his teacher, he would be madaik in every single word he said. And since he was madaik in every word he said, just like Rachvan from Bedisa was a known daikon, who was a known Torah scholar, was madaik in every single word. So Rav Huna also was madaik in every single word that I heard from the teacher. And if Rav Huna says that Rabbi said that it's mutter, then mitztam is mutter, and that's what he passed, and he's relying on Rav Huna. How do we see? We compare the Huna to Rachva from Pumbedisa. Who is this Rachva from Pumbedisa? So bring a story. We can get to Rachva from Pumbedisa. The Amar Rachva, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rachva said the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Harabais, Stov, Kafel, Hoya, Stov, lifting me Stov. In the Harabais, you had two lines of Harabais, two lines of each Stov, two lines of balconies that went on the walls of Harabais, and they had two arches, two lines of arches in the Harabais. So Rachman said he heard this from Rabbi Yehuda. Now he didn't know whether he heard it from Rabbi Yehuda, the time Rabbi Yehuda, or he doesn't know if he heard it from Yehuda Nasi. So he said, Rabbi Yehuda, I heard it from Rabbi Yehuda. Because if he says Rabbi Yehuda, if he says I heard it from Yehuda Nasi, so then it's Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and maybe it's from Rabbi Yehuda. If he says he heard it only from Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Yehuda, so then maybe it's not Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And I said he heard it from Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda could mean both of them. So he said how much he was Madaik in whatever he heard to make sure it's accurate. So that's why. So he said. So Rav Safra was saying that Rav Huna is Madaik like Rachva, meaning he's very Madaik. Rav Yosef heard the story that Rav Safra passed like Rav Huna. What was the concept of the story? We had machlokes whether they have to go back all the way back there to Shah, or can I stay and burn them over here? And we said, no, passing like Rav Huna because Rav Huna is very Madaik. But what was the psak of Rav Huna? Rav Huna's psak was much more mekel. He doesn't have to go back there to Shah. So Rav Yosef heard this story. He said, "Ami beitza yisrael umakle yagid lei." Call hamekel magidlay, meaning whereas more mekel, obviously you listen to him, right? You're passing like Rav Huna because Rav Huna is more mekel. You have to make a whole pulpit and say that he's more medai. He's more mekel. That's why you pass like him. Okay, now we're going to the story of cutting produce on trees. Rabbi Lai cuts kafna yasa b'shviz. Rabbi Huna, Rabbi Lai was in his garden and he cut down small figs, small dates on trees. Okay, cut down a palm tree on trees. Now the problem is, how can you cut down small figs on trees? You can only cut fruit from a field on trees if you're going to eat them. But these fruit are not really edible. So therefore, how can you eat them? Why do you cut them down? How is he mutter to cut them down? And if you're going to answer me, when are you not able to cut down fruit for no reason? When it already became a fruit, meaning a fruit that's once it's a fruit, then you can't get rid of it. But if it's not edible yet, so maybe it's not a problem to cut it down. It's only us to cut down fruit. It's not us to cut down twigs. So if you're going to tell me that's how it was mutter, if you have figs that have a small cover, they have a small cover from Arla, then it's us, meaning the Arla tree. If you have a tree which is a small palm tree that has dates, and in those dates are the small cover, so the cover is also us. Why is the cover also us? However, since the cover became a Shema, became a garden for the fruit, it has the same thing as the fruit itself. Now, when do we have the cover? When do these dates have a cover on them? Is only Bekufri, when the dates are very, very small, which is the same dates that have cut before. And together with that, the Mishnah says that the covers of the dates are counted as fruit because they're covering fruit. When does it have a cover? When it's tiny. And the Mishnah still call it fruit. So you can't tell me that Rabbi was able to cut down the dates from the tree because it wasn't fruit yet, because the Mishnah says that these dates at this stage are counted as fruit. Answer the Gemara. One answer is Nachman goes like a B'yasi. That what? That which you just said, the Mishnah says that these tiny dates are still counted as fruit already. He goes like a B'yasi. The time that now could be learning a B'yasi. The B'yasi says small that if you have tiny grapes that are only just budding, also they're also, even though the also if it's early tree, it's also even though they're only tiny, they're not even fruit yet. Nation paid because the B'yasi says it's fruit. So the B'yasi who says that the dates, even though the tiny is fruit, he goes according to Nachman goes according to the B'yasi. But Rabbanan already argued with Rabbi Yossi and said that tiny grapes isn't counted as fruit. If tiny grapes isn't counted as fruit, so tiny dates also isn't counted as fruit. If tiny dates isn't counted as fruit, we could explain why Rabbi cut them down from the tree because they weren't fruit yet, and therefore he was able to cut them down from the tree. It's only us to cut down fruit in trees. It's not us to cut down wood. So that's a good answer. The Gemara pushes away the answer. Ask the Gemara Maskifla. Rav Shimon Adar asked the question. When did Rabbanan and Rabbi Yossi have an argument if tiny grapes are fruit or not? Only regarding grapes. But regarding other trees, but now we learn in the Mishnah, when is also to stop, when you have to stop cutting the trees on trees. So we have machlokes. Shammai says, all fruit, all trees, whenever they start budding, it's counted as fruit, and therefore even bud, and therefore it's us. Basila says, if you have carrots, when they start having the form of a carrot bag, when you have grapes, when they start coming a reasonable size. When you have olives, when they start having the olives start having a crown around them. But any other fruit, when they start making fruit. As soon as they start making fruit. Ravasi said, who base said, who gidua, who put a love. Anytime it says in the Mishnah, base said or gidua, it all means the same thing, tiny. So we're going to see in a second. So here we see that they only argued regarding grapes, regarding other fruit, like kol pradilanas, any other fruit. Even Basila says, like Bishama, that when they start making any buds, it's counted as fruit. So if so, how can you tell me Rabbi cut down dates when they were tiny? We have a clear Mishnah. Everyone agrees that even dates when they are tiny are counted as fruit, and you can't count fruit on shviz. So we're going to leave off the question over here. We're going to continue tomorrow on the Gimel and Aleph at the top. Have a good night.